Hello, everybody. Welcome to the American Doofus Show. Don't be a doofus. I'm your host, Barry Walsh, and I get a lot of email. And lately, I've been getting some email about the angry Viking, and I've been getting some email about NFAC. Um, and I'm going to talk. The two are kind of entangled, I guess we would say. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that entanglement. I'm going to focus tonight on NFAC and Angry Viking tomorrow, as things sit now. Sometimes things happen and the schedule gets interrupted when something pops up, such as I was not anticipating Travis Nagdy being murdered yesterday. And they bumped our schedule around a little bit. I've gotten some emails, what happened to the NFAC? Where did the NFAC go? And for those that don't know, I've documented the NFAC from the very beginning, and I've tried to be I've tried to be fair, balanced. I know those are tarnished words in the media, but I've honestly tried to be fair and balanced and talk about Grandmaster Jay, the leader of the NFAC, and talk about the NFAC in a distanced view, if you will, from the point of distant observer. And I've tried to do so fairly, and I've tried to do so for history, because as I've said many times, I believe it was an historic effort. And I'm talking about July the 4th. And that was the day that I became aware of the NFAC and of Grandmaster Jay. And I started writing about the NFAC on that day. I didn't start broadcasting the show until a little bit later on in the month. And one of the first few episodes was about the NFAC. For those that don't know, on July 4th, there was a formation of the NFAC. NFAC stands for Not Fucking Around Coalition. And it is a coalition of various groups that make up a black militia. And Stone Mountain, Georgia was the first sign, the first formation, the first time the public became aware, or some of us in the public became aware of NFAC. And I felt it was historic and started documenting it. And immediately there was an effort to chop it down, to tear it down by many different entities, and some of those still are prevalent, and it makes you question the motive from the beginning, whether I've been a doofus all along. Who knows? Only time will tell. But anyway, from the Stone Mountain to Louisville, Kentucky, and a rally demanding justice, a formation demanding justice for Breonna Taylor, to a second Louisville formation on Kentucky Derby Day. And this is where Angry Viking comes into the entanglement as far as physical presence. Angry Viking kind of started in response to what Grandmaster Jay was doing with the NFAC, in my opinion. And I don't have somebody that's going to come on camera with me, but I've got somebody that's given me information that I'm going to be talking about tomorrow night, about the Angry Viking. And nothing derogatory against Dylan Stevens, the actual the person behind the caricature. Um, and from Louisville, second time around on Derby Day. And again, that day actually a proper retrospective. We'd have to talk more about that day, and I'll try to do that tomorrow in tomorrow's episode, because the Angry Viking plays a significant part in it. But from the second stop in Louisville to Washington D.C. For the march there, and then to Lafayette, Louisiana, the final formation that NFAC's held. And a lot of the people that are asking what happened, where did it go? Simply because there aren't any more formations doesn't mean that it's gone anywhere. The people that have spoken, the people that have spoken through others, I've got this information third party. Let's just put it that way. The NFAC is growing significantly, and still has the same goals. Those goals were a 1 million gun formation, and establishing a black only city in an area where they can be left alone. And that's what I've been led to believe are the same goals that have been going on. And if you can imagine the visual of 1 million guns. I grew up in an era where a lot of things were measured by Woodstock. And for those that don't know, Woodstock was a festival of peace and love and music in upstate New York in 1969. And there were 300,000 people that showed up. And there are a few aerial shots of the mass of humanity. And you would have to be at an extremely high vantage point in order to capture, with incredible wide angle lenses, capture 1 million people in one area at one time. And that indeed would be a very powerful statement. So the answers to the questions, basically what happened, nothing's happened to my knowledge with the NFAC, except it's still growing and still going. Where did it go? Just because they aren't having formations doesn't mean they've gone anywhere. And to me personally, I think the formations served their purpose and ran its course. Unless you're going to put 1 million guns together or something significantly close, or something significantly large, 10,000 guns is powerful. But having formations served a purpose in that. And again, I'm talking purely middle of the road. I'm not on anybody's side. I'm not a part of any organizations. From a political and from a public relations standpoint, the formations and Grandmaster Jay's idea of them and the way he handled them, in that all of them were successful, in that nobody was arrested, no shots were fired in aggression, and nothing was ever torn up. They were peaceful presentations of power. Okay. And I think they ran their course. And I think that's why you don't see them anymore. Now, if something significant happens, will the NFAC suddenly appear and be part of protection or punishment? I'd say probably, but there are those that say I'm crazy. And again, I'm a middle of the road observer that listens to all sides, and I'm going to continue to do that, because there are a lot of people, and it started with Chris, our buddy Chris in owns his own security company, militia expert, security expert, weapons expert, tactical expert. He's told us from the beginning that somebody's pulling the strings on Grandmaster Jay. And I've had others on the program, as those of you that watch know, that have said, Grandmaster Jay's not straight up and up. So only time will tell. But I'm going to continue my my historic documentation. And it was time to have an episode where we talked about the NFAC. And again, if Grandmaster Jay is part of a Trump plan, now that the election has not gone the way of Trump, will Grandmaster Jay disappear? These are things that are legitimate questions if he's indeed an operative of the current president of the United States, because all of our hopes are there's going to be a peaceful transition. I'm still not 100% convinced of that. I'm not even 95% convinced of that. Just because they've said the transition can begin, the transition team can do certain things, doesn't mean that anything's over. Okay, just because they are, and I want to talk about this in an episode, because Rudy Giuliani on a Fox Finance show, a reporter asked him the question, where are the facts on all this fraud? And he said, I'm exaggerating a bit. It's what Rudy Giuliani, the president's personal attorney, said about voter fraud, because they're trying to steal an election, okay, and they aren't going to do it. But it doesn't mean they've walked away from power. It doesn't mean they've given up the office of the presidency. And that's still a deep concern of mine. I may be one of few, but until the 20th of January, I'm going to be concerned, because there are too many possibilities of too many things at work that rebellion and basically treason against the United States government, all on behalf of Donald Trump, are still possible. And that possibility doesn't go away. So don't be a doofus. Don't think this is over. Okay. Let's hope it is. Let's hope everything goes peaceful and there's a peaceful transition, and we just keep talking about what we're talking about. But let's not let our guards down. Let's take serious the fact that the current resident of the White House, despite being voted out, has not yet fully or partially acknowledged the fact that he's been beaten and he's going to have to leave. And that's a potentially dangerous situation, because there are too many that blindly follow him. So something to think about. It's the American Doofus Show. I'm your host, Barry Walsh. Of course, do not be a doofus. Be a light. Be a light in a world of darkness. And we need more light, and need you to share your positivities with each other, especially as we head towards Thanksgiving. And again, according to the schedule, barring unforeseen circumstances, tomorrow night I'm going to be on talking about the Angry Viking and the Angry Viking movement, and how it tied in with the NFAC. And then going to be talking about the current president on our episode after that. And until tomorrow night, I am Barry Walsh. I host this little thing called the American Doofus Show. Don't be a doofus. Love you all. Take care of each other.